what I'm doing here is just following the page 177 in Richard Williams' The Animator's Survival Kit. At the bottom of the page, there's a basic breakdown of the quintessential run, so I'm just going to follow that because I'm not smart enough to outthink Richard Williams. Okay. One thing that will make this a little problematic is we really need to have a wider. I mean, we actually might be okay. Let's just work it through and see. What we actually have are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positions before he makes contact again. So we got 1, 2, 3. Okay. 4. Yeah. This one is right up on the toe. This is basically supposed to be, I would say this one is probably angled just a little too much. So let's just take this, set the center at the ankle, kind of bring it back a little bit. That way we can put this one more straight out like that. So we're going to run off the page, but that's okay. So what I want to, the main thing I want to look at here is where the hip line is. Okay, so we got hip, hip, hip. Okay. Okay. This. So really his hips have made it over to here. So this is going to be more like that. Okay, so this is, I want to just get this arc here, would want to be there. So you can see there's his actual waistline. His waistline would be there, there. On this shot, yeah, about there. I'm trying to ignore the old drawings. I've only really got them there for the initial spacing. So, okay, so now we launch. So boom, boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's going to be 7 drawings. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and this is, in the old version, this is kind of what was wrong. What we need to do is, first of all, let's get his waistline about here. Okay. And according to Richard Williams, and this is, again, this is kind of a cartoony run, frankly. If we're going to say his knees are about here, then let's stay consistent with that. So this is actually going to be more like that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Boom. And we are going to run off the page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to my canvas size, level, canvas size, and let's just make it a lot wider. Let's make it 3000. A little bit crazy, but there. OpenTunes is really good at dealing with large files. Okay, the grid actually doesn't seem to be helping me too much. What might be useful is to take this line and just indicate where the floor is, but really that's the only guide we need. So we got 2 more shots, And so if we're going to put his waistline here, oops, went in the wrong direction there. We'll put his waistline there on that one. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and back here, it's... what's going on here? It doesn't seem to want to toggle back to the previous drawing. All right. Next drawing. So back. So ostensibly what's going on here... okay, I'm going to have to reload OpenTunes because the fact that I resized the canvas has the marker or the brush a little freaked out, so it doesn't want to let me draw outside of the drawing area. I've seen that happen before, and a restart should fix it. So, so you could see from the previous bit of sped up video why we're doing this. We just want to get it right, that's all. Okay. So this is a bit exaggerated, but I'm going to assume... well, we can't capitalize on the fact that this is going to be off screen, because actually through most of it, since these cells are going to repeat, it's not going to be off screen. So here we're going to go... just get the knee up, and then the leg that's behind is going to be actually something like that. And then on this last frame, it's actually going to be like so. So unfortunately, if you can freaking believe this, we have to widen the canvas even more. We just do. Now, I could obviously go in and move each of these frames back just a little bit, but you know what? Forget it. It's not worth it. File, save all, level, canvas size once again, and we're going to just expand it to 3400. We're going to make it ridiculously huge. Now, is OpenTunes going to let me draw? Yes, it is. So I guess I don't have to restart this time. That's nice. Okay, so that's good. So then, basically, that foot is supposed to be about like that. This, that's way back. And basically it kind of points back. All right. Okay, that's his hip. Okay. Now, what I said I didn't want to do, I actually have to do. Okay. I'm going to set another marker here. And then, what I'm going to do, let me think about this for a minute. Yeah, I think what I need to do is actually, I'm going to mark his hips, or his waistline, you might say. Basically, the center of his waistline I'm going to mark. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm going to come back and I'm going to center all of these drawings. So essentially, it looks like he's running in place, and then the background can be panned behind him. So actually, I guess I don't need this marker here. What I need to do is move it here, and S, move that to there. S. So I guess I didn't really super need to, darn it, to rotate the canvas. or resize the canvas, I mean. Classic me, I can't actually work and talk at the same time. At least not intelligently. So, sorry. My parrot says that now every once in a while. He says, sorry. I don't know where I got that from. I know it's not original with me. Got that one. By a whisker. Okay, let's go back to the B key and... Okay. So now, this is kind of interesting. Yeah, I guess. Let's take this and just do a duplicate just to see how the continuity through the whole cycle is. Yeah, that looks way better. Now, it can be argued quite convincingly. If you look at what happens in the rest of the story, one can fairly ask the question, why the heck do we have a guy running in the hallway anyway? Because what actually happens subsequently would seem to indicate that whoever comes in was in fact walking. However, A, it's a good animation exercise, and B, it's fun. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to hit, let's see, how do I want to do this? See, the thing about it is, this, basically it's all too big. So I could resize every drawing, and that wouldn't be like the worst thing in the world, but it seems to me, since this is going to be static, we might as well just scale this like that, reposition it down a little bit, and call it good. Yeah, okay. So now at this point, I would say we can resize the canvas again. And let's resize the canvas to probably 2200. I think will do the trick. Yep. Crop the canvas. Actually, it turns out we can go even smaller. I think that'll be okay. So File, Save All. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to limit it to this. Now let's look at the pacing of this. Okay. So now as an experiment, let's take this, and I really need to learn this. I always forget, is it each or step? I think it's step. Yeah, step. Okay. So let's kill this level so it's not clouding our vision. And that feels like slow motion to me. If you're going to have, in other words, if he was walking, it would be okay. But if he's running, it's not really realistic. So that's fine. So I'm going to say that since we are... This is just something that Akari hears. And it's only on the screen for, well, maybe as long as we have here. Let me see. Probably 2 times through. Okay. So let's see if I drag this down, I believe it duplicates everything for me. So yeah, you know, you're just gonna hear of the feet coming down the hall. So with that, I'm gonna grab this, boom, And let's be prepared to do some ink and paint, but actually before we do that, let's do the right doggone thing and tighten this up. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to just go ahead and crank down the alpha on this color so it serves as a guide, and then let's duplicate that color. Let's make it kind of bluish. Crank the alpha back up again, and now let's properly fill this in. I don't want it to be too blue. Alright, so if we're going to have this be his waist, I think what I should do here is let's just get his waistline in there. Remember those wraps that he has around his waist? So that's what we're kind of focused on here, is where would the wraps be in this run cycle? Because really the thing I'm after here is I want to keep the proportion of the character consistent. I should refer back to Richard Williams right here, because I think I'm actually making this, I think he's probably leaned back too much right there. I'm not sure about that. But again, we're going to keep this simple. Once I've got this proportion pretty close, frankly, I can't remember ever drawing a character where I started at his gut. So this is kind of a new adventure. Okay, so knee, 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 knee. Okay, that's fine. Okay, knee. So this feels like it's probably a little too long. Yeah, this one feels like it's getting too long as well. Yeah, it's like my character grew over the course of the run cycle. He actually grew. So I'm gonna adjust for that. Yeah, I'm gonna adjust for that definitely, because yeah, his proportions are like whacked. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep going around the run cycle here and keep the drawings very simple, very clean, but we've got to get the contours somewhat accurate. Okay, let's get the back of his leg. So you can see right here in this shot how the sucker definitely grew as I was developing this run cycle. So we're just gonna fix it. Okay. So, which does mean that probably what we're gonna have to do is right about here, I would say we need to lower this a little bit and actually probably make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, definitely this is too big. Okay, and honestly, probably this whole component needs to be adjusted a bit. We can get away with murder because he's up in the air at that point, but okay, so this we've got to transition back to this. So actually, let's erase that. So I want to have that contour there. And we need to have this. So basically the knee is too low. Okay. Okay, I'm cool with that. Let's get this sort of stretch of the fabric. Okay. Back to the top. Now the reason I'm doing this, I've made the mistake in the past of jumping right into inking before I really had all the structure nailed down, and I've regretted it kind of repeatedly. So I don't want to make that mistake today. Okay, so right here, if this was going to be like this, actually it'd be more like that. And this is clearly too. So this drawing, that's why these markers in OpenTunes are kind of useful, because really that drawing should be there. This one is kind of ridiculous in the sense that he really shouldn't be up that high. And I'm going to actually take this whole one and scale it a bit. Bring it down, and let's just see if I can get away with that. Yeah, this one's too big as well. S, select all. OpenTunes just blew up. And that means I lost all my work. That means I just lost everything that I put here today. Because right now I want to emphasize to people, don't do what I just did. I committed the cardinal sin. The cardinal sin in animation or anything that involves software. I really hate to say this because it sounds so cynical, but it really is true. Don't get in the zone. Do not get in the zone. You get in the zone and you enjoy yourself too much, then when your computer crashes, you're going to realize 45 minutes ago I should have saved my work. 30 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, 10 minutes, I should have saved I didn't save my work. So I am screwed big time. Unbelievable. So here we go. There's nothing to do except just forge ahead. Just do it over. Say, hey, it gets better every time. Keeps getting better. Oh yeah, always. So we're going to look at the bright side. And what we're going to find out here is that we literally, I am not even kidding, folks, just lost a ton of work. Okay, so it looks like what happened was I had to save it when I had to restart. So that's fine. Here we go again. Control C, Control V, boom, boom, boom. All right, let's take this, reduce it. Don't get in the zone, folks. Save your work. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deal with the resizing first. That's the one good thing about crashes is you recognize things that need to be tweaked. What actually blew it up was I hit Save, Control All, and then I tried to scale it. So let's just be bold and try it again. Okay, so now it doesn't seem to want to die in the process. However, okay, that toe is touching the ground, so I'm going to say that I'm just not going to keep taking that chance. I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. Okay. Same thing here. In other words, I'm not hitting select all since that was what seemed to have invoked the crash. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. So I got to hit Control Z, or in my case, it's actually just Z. You got to start shrinking, and then I don't think that's small enough yet. You have to start shrinking and then hit Shift. Okay, and then this one is, again, I'm saving my work. Boy, that bums me out. But honestly, I was just drawing contours and stuff, so you know, I don't think there's anybody using any animation software that doesn't deal with that. You know, you're gonna get crashes. Okay, it's still too big. That's too big. I think what I'm going to do here, though, is be a little more selective. So what I mean by that is, let's go here. Let's just look at this for a minute. Okay. First of all, let's mark his knee. Knee, 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 knee. Right here. Here's the problem. This should actually be more like that. Okay. I want to move fast here. Okay. Knee. I want to really move fast. Okay. Knee. Looking at that arc right there. Okay, now we're back around to the first drawing. Excuse me. Okay, I think we're in good shape. Something there is a little off. Yeah. And I believe that one comes up in the sky a little too much, and it's probably just a tiny bit too big, but okay, you don't go up in the air and then come back down and then go back up again. There we go. Okay, I feel like these two should be slightly higher. And this one, boy, why don't we angle it just a bit so that we can make it higher but still have the heel coming into contact. Okay, again, saving my work. Let's go ahead and duplicate this so we can quickly run it. Okay, that feels pretty good. Okay, so again, not crying too much. There's our blue color. Okay, so what did we say we were going to do? Well, said we were going to get his waistline. I'm going to bypass that. The thing that seems to be coming up as the most effective guide is this thigh. I seem to be wanting to anchor everything on this thigh. So what I'm going to do this time around is I'm going to go ahead and get the volume of his knee kind of in place. Get the size, you might say. Okay. Let's just get the knees kind of establishing our scale. Because the problem with sticks and balls, for working out motion, it's awesome, but for but it's easy to lose track of the volume for this simple reason: is where's the stick? Is the stick showing the contour of the body part, or is it going through the middle of the body part? You know, you got to be sort of cognizant of that. So I'm going to do this a little more mechanistically, and I think it's actually going to guide the ink even better than before. Okay, and the way I'm going to do that is, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the point of his heel, and I'm going to go through here and find the point of his heel on all these drawings. Point of his heel there. I say point. It's not really a point, you know. It's the rear edge of his heel, and you'll see in a minute why I'm doing that. I'm actually going to indicate that one there because obviously his heel would be coming back, so I'm going to say right there, and obviously there. Okay, now what I did was I indicated the angle here, angle. Okay, this is kind of where the sticks and balls approach, I think, kind of pays off. Okay, and the reason I'm doing it this way is because the most difficult thing I'm finding to sort of get right on this is actually the volume of his waistline. It's focusing too much on that is the reason why the scale was getting out of whack. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work from this angle point to get the top edge of his wraps, I guess you'd say, on his. Okay. So that's cool. So let's go ahead and get the top edge of his thigh, coming down and dovetailing into his knee. Okay. So the reason this is a little easier is because we are dealing with volumes. We're not dealing with what we're dealing is we know we're dealing with the extents or the outside contours of the shapes that we're trying to animate. Okay. Okay, let's go back to the top here. Okay. Okay, and this one's going to be, there's going to be a little bit more meat on that. Stretch it out now. Stretch it out. Stretch it out. Stretch it out. Okay. Back to the top. Better save our work. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to follow this contour around like that to determine the calf. Alright, so now and here, this is actually this leg, by the way, if you didn't notice that. So you always want to make sure knees don't come to a point. They're actually squared off. They have, you know, some volume to them. Let's make sure we're being cognizant of that. That thigh is probably a little too meaty, actually. Okay, I'm going to do a straight line here, and here's where we're really driving home the scale of this. Okay, this is coming this way. Okay, shins are obviously straight lines, so it's kind of easy to use shins as a guide. Alright, going back to the top. Shin, 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 Okay. Meat. 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 Okay. Again. Save early, save often. Looking pretty good. Top of the foot. Whoops. Hit the wrong key there, folks. Top of the foot. Okay. So here, this is the front. Front. Okay, and it should be fairly obvious that I got this wrong. The first drawing. Actually, this is the front. Duh. Is that right? Am I having a dyslexia moment? No, I am correct. Back. Yeah, wow. I'm having a definite dyslexia moment. That's funny. Sorry about that. That's kind of embarrassing. But whatever. Remember, this whole cycle is actually, I mean, I'm now realizing, hey, by the way, you're going to have to repeat this twice. Once with the leg in front, once with the leg in back. So, save your work. Whenever you start accidentally pushing the wrong keys, it's probably not a bad idea to save your work. So, again, here, total dyslexia moment. All right, one thing I do want to do is on this shot, let's just grab this and bring this closer. I think we're totally losing the scale here. And probably this half should be brought in a bit too. Okay, so B key, let's just say, are we on? Okay, 1, 2, 3. I see what's going wrong here. Yeah, it's an understandable mistake. Okay, so now here's what we need to do. This is going to be an interesting exercise. Let's take our cells and step 2. And then what I'm going to do is go D, 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 D. Now, I don't know if I can use control, and I can't hit control. So what I have to do is I have to go drag this down to here, this down to here. So yeah, this is a little obnoxious to have to do it this way, but it's probably easily the most effective way to make sure this all comes out correctly. So okay, now this needs to be dragged up here. It's interesting that this is normally, like with moving animation keys around and stuff, you have to click and then click a second time to actually drag it, but with this it seems to be the opposite. Okay, so now what I need to do, let me check this, from here to here. Okay. So again, kind of an embarrassing thing to overlook. Okay, right here, what the heck's going on? Let me double check this. Oh. So again, I want to emphasize what I'm struggling more than I should be, again, because I do believe this actually is a dyslexia moment. What's going on is this leg is in front. Front. And then look at that. Look at that. Wow. Well, no, that's correct, because this leg, this is the one that's on the floor. So yeah, this is actually right. Front, 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 front. Okay, front. Front. Okay. This one just moved to the back, so this one's in front now. Front. Front. Is that right? I think that's wrong. Golly, man. This is really tricky. So, in other words, I'm not always trying to notate the one that's in front. I'm trying to make sure that I'm following the correct leg here. So the X leg now, right here's the one that throws me. Okay, here he's got contact, so that's right. Okay, right here's where it went wrong. Contact, contact. And this was the contact leg. So we'll keep notating it. So now here it should switch. Let's just see. Right there. Okay. Front leg. Front leg. Switch. This is the front leg. So what I really need to do is just make sure I'm following the correct leg. So now here's the contact leg, and since it's 2 cycles through, it should switch to this leg. Does it? No. So I really hate to because here, this is the contact leg, and we're following we're starting with the front leg, not the contact leg. Front. Okay, it passes in front. This is the passing position. You know what? I shouldn't put that, because if I go back to my Richard Williams book, I may find out that this is not, in fact, the passing position. The passing position has a specific meaning in the course of an animation cycle. So, okay, so this foot. So anyway, sorry folks for okay, so this one swung in front right there. And here's where he has contact. Contact, contact. Okay, so this foot swings up in the air. And this one launches, actually, is what happens. Okay, so this is again where the volume thing becomes a bit of a problem. If that's the back of his heel, this is so badly screwed up, it's indescribable, actually. Because there's no volume. I'm working with the outward extents, and I'm kind of in denial about the actual volume of anatomy that's there. So upshot being that the top of the foot, this, needed to be higher, because otherwise he's got a foot that's about 1/12 of a millimeter thick, which is stupid. However, that gets me through. Okay, so up, up, and now we've got contact. Fine. So this is the contact foot. Okay, so the reason it's a dyslexia moment, in short, is the fact that the transition from what's in front to what's in back is, my brain literally has a difficult time processing what's in front and what's behind. I don't know if that's normal or, like I said, if it's like a dyslexia thing. I think it's a dyslexia thing, but it can definitely be a little irritating. Okay, so this is turning into a mess for the same reason I just described. If this is the known volume and this is the extent of the heel, the back of it, then the calf must be like here. The front of the foot has to be there, so the shin would have to be about there. Right? Okay. And just for the record, while we're here, let's fix this. And if we're going to fix that thusly, then it seems to me that the entire shot needs to be moved over a bit. Yeah, and that does look better. Okay, so again, I don't mean to belabor this, but what I'm going to do actually here is I'm going to add another color so that I can literally just follow this leg around the cycle. I think it's the only way I can do it. It's okay. So if this has got contact, then this is just passed through, as we noted there. Okay. Okay. Red. Okay, so now it's making contact. Okay, so it should be the other one. Yeah, correct. Contact. Contact. And this is always the part where it gets confusing. And there it is. Okay, so now, again, sorry to have to do it this way, but I'm going to put green so I can show which leg's in front. So sad. So sad. Alright. Front. Okay, so this is the border, if you will. That's going to have to be scaled a bit, by the way. Okay. Can't believe this, man. It's like it's like having an arm missing, you know. What do? It's just not there. Okay. This leg's in front. I know it is. Again, this leg's in front. This leg's in front. So this is where the... So what I'm... Okay, right there. Alright, let's double check here. Yes. 3. There's your problem. There it is. I knew there was something wrong. Yeah, because here... So on 55, the left leg's in front, and on 54, the right leg's in front. Thank you. I knew there was something wrong there. Jeez. Okay. So here, this is actually supposed to be like that. By gum and by golly. See, I knew if I worked it through in a linear fashion, which is what I have to do, because it's like if I am trying to find something, like with directions, especially if there's any stress associated with it, where it's like important that I get somewhere by a certain time, my ability to ferret out directions, it just goes. It's gone. And then I have to take a very winding linear path, go back to a known location and start from there sometimes, you know. So it's just, everybody's got their deficits, and that's certainly mine. Oh, I'm sure there's probably more than one, but okay, probably don't want that there confusing things. And there it is. Okay, we're back to some semblance of sanity. Let's just go ahead and get these wrap borders in here. You know, the funny thing is, this is like a, okay, right here, this is obviously completely ridiculous. And then the whole thing needs to be centered. Okay, same thing here. Looks goofy. Better save our work. Okay, seems like his thigh's a little bit beefy on that shot, but that's okay. We're going to grab this to here and just stretch this out to here for examination purposes. And let's slow it down a little bit. See, that's what it would look like on 2, so obviously people don't run that slow. But, hey, basically, we've got it. Okay. So now it's a matter of really pinning down the details. Wrap, 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 wrap. Okay. Back to the tippy top. Okay, back of the heel. Back of the heel. I'm going to do this with straight lines. Back of the heel. Back of the heel. Straight line. This one you can't see it, but I'll just stick in his calf. Back of the heel. The reason I'm being kind of picky here now about the backs of the heels is that anywhere you have angles, like you've got joints that turn, and then you're putting in guides to help you know how to turn things relative to each other. So that's where scale, what I've found anyway, is that that's where scale tends to fall apart. You tend to draw things too big because one line's in the wrong position, so you draw the other line where it needs to be relative to the first line, and all of a sudden everything is out of proportion. So one way to help with that is to draw things, you know, I always say work from the known to the unknown. So like right now, if I focus on the bottom of his foot, and I'm closing my eyes. I don't care if I go through some other lines that, like right here, this is completely unclear. If that's the heel thing, and there's his foot. Let's do that again. If that's his foot, which seems to me is not down far enough. So let's just draw the foot as if nothing else was there, what would it look like? Okay, so then the ankle would have to be there, and the basic foot volume would be something like that. I can work with that. Is this shot in the air? Yes, this shot's in the air. Okay, so here we've got a similar situation. So I'm going to say bottom of the foot is actually there, which means the heel has to be more like there. So let's just kind of clean it up now. Now that I can see it in my head. There. Okay, similar situation here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. All right, that doesn't feel right. That does. Okay, B key. All right. Bottom of the foot. Bottom of the foot. Okay, right here. Okay, angles out. Therefore, bottom of the foot's got to be here. Heel would be about there. Blah, 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 blah. Same situation here. We're obviously dealing with the mirror of the shots we dealt with before. This was the one that needed to be moved a bit. Save early, save often, right? Okay, if that's there, then we're going to have to build that up just a little bit. Okay. Foot's too big. Okay, really? Really? That's what you're going to do? B key, save. All right. Now, can you imagine if I'd have tried to go straight into inking on this thing? Okay, so if this is the heel, this is kind of what I was talking about. If this is the heel and it's got to make contact, therefore here's the bottom of the foot, then the top of the foot has to go like this. And what we may discover with a shot like this, or a drawing, is that everything else might need to be moved a little bit. You know, if this is what's known, if this is for sure, then everything else has to be positioned relative to it. That's just the way it is, baby. Okay, so. You know, honestly, the faster we move here, probably the better. Because we're trying to maintain our sense of, or just sort of real-time sense of what we have. So we're trying to see the frame-by-frame motion. Feel that. Okay. So I'm going to go back up here and say, woo. I guess we've got a belly in there somewhere. Okay. Okay, save early, save often, right? Not bad. I can see, well, I happened to land right on the the shot or the frame that was concerning me. Okay, so yeah, I was seeing that flash by undrawn. Okay. So basically what I want to do now is address his kind of butt volume. Because it's always going to create a bit of a bump right there. Okay. No, that's not too bad. Right there it's sort of missing. There it's sort of missing. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to have, he's got these little, okay, and this, by the way, I'm going to say this needs to be jutted in a little bit. That looks better. B key. There's quite a few of these actually where I would say his feet are seeming to grow maybe a little more than I'm comfortable with. Then that one's borderline. Let's shrink it a bit. Okay, B key, again, save. Don't want to have another crash. You lose a bunch of work. Okay. Right there, yeah. B key. Ah, right there. Golly, that looks stupid. That looks stupid. Okay, so here's what we're going to do on this one. First of all, let's shrink the foot. I'm thinking that that should be slightly up that way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab this whole thing and do that. Okay, now we're going to address some scale issues. Right there. This is ridiculous. There too, same thing. Golly, that looks stupid. Come on, scale. Probably about like that. Then we need to center it up. I'm just going by feel here, but it seems to me that something like that would be appropriate. This is slightly off. Again, keep him centered. Not so sure about that one. Yeah, just feels too big. Not much. Darn it, come on. Yeah, see, that's the scale I like. And really, kind of a lot of this seems to be violating my sense of what the scale should be. Right there, it's like boom, this shot. It feels like everything got big. And, you know, which is probably why it looks like his waist, you know, is higher all of a sudden in some of these shots. right there. So yeah, I'm just going to make these adjustments. To my own satisfaction. Okay. There's a little bit of growth on his calf. Yeah, probably there. Let's say, let's get his foot down to size a little bit. S key and bring it all down just a skosh. Right there. S key. Okay, well actually, to be persnickety about it, that should come over just a little bit. And here is ridiculous. This is absurd. Okay, so now the question is this supposed to be making contact? And it is not, so that's good. And that, of course, would push him up. Again, that's the mirror of the other shot that I said was so ridiculous. The rest is probably okay. Probably okay. Let's bring it down to about 18 frames per second just to make sure we're satisfied. Okay. Now, let me see. Let's see. What if we go up to 20? Yeah, it's kind of annoying because 20 seems too fast, but 18 seems too slow. But 20, I mean, I guess this is what good animators deal with, right? If you're going to put it on 20s, it would suggest that there's a couple tweens needed. And certainly right there suggests a need for another tween. Yeah, because his leg made quite a progression right there. So that's what we're going to do. Let's do a duplicate. Let's do it this way. I'm going to show how to use duplicates to, well, cheat. And this is quite useful. I'm just going to swing that down like that. And now what I want to do is see if, yeah, so this would be actually bent up a little more, not less. Okay. And frankly, I don't think I made enough of a move. So okay. So now there's that, and that would be moving back like that. So what actually has to happen here is kind of interesting. I'm going to have to really fudge this a bit. What I need to do is pull this over like that. Okay. Then I need to hit the S key here. Straighten this out. Okay. Now take the whole thing and remember to keep him centered, but I think that works. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stretch this down here and make a duplicate of this. So this is going to be number 55. And I'm going to cut it. Why did it ripple there? Okay, well, that's okay. We're going to... Okay. So again, dyslexia moment. I'm having to process which frame has to be adjusted, or where the insertion needs to take place. Okay, what I'm going to do is switch to my green here, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is what's... Okay, that was lame. I believe that this is what's supposed to be happening here. So that leg goes to the back. B. Okay, so at 24, is that kind of sort of close? Well, it's not going to be. This is going to pace it out a little bit, but it didn't didn't get us to where we need to be. So I'm just curious where else. Right there, between 55 and 57. So I'm going to just go like this and delete. Okay, so we're going... Okay, actually, this is the whole cycle running twice, so I need to delete these frames so that I'm only dealing with the one batch. Okay, right there is where I'm kind of feeling a tween would be necessary or helpful anyway. Yeah, everywhere that you're switching from the front to the rear leg, when the legs are changing positions, right there. Is again a tween is suggested. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually delete that frame and delete that frame. Okay. And the reason I'm doing that is so I don't forget what I'm doing. Okay, what I want to do here, I think if I hit D, I'll get a duplicate. So that's fine. So now we've got 2 copies of this drawing. So 54, all we want to do is rotate this kind of to the down position. Down, I don't know if that's actually proper terminology. Okay. And I'm going to crunch that up even more. And I would say everything has to come up a little bit so that this can also come up a little bit, at which point this would be adjusted thusly. Okay, let's erase this, and now believe it or not, I have to look and see which leg is in front, if you can believe that. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go like this. Control C. Go here. Hit the B key. Insert a frame. And then hit the S key and hit Control V. And then all I'm going to do here is use the eraser to put the other leg in front. Like so. Okay, so now our cycle is a little bit longer. Okay, that's pretty good. Are we still going? Yeah, we're at 24 frames a second now. And I'm feeling like that probably looks about right. So gosh, I've been going for an hour and 50 minutes. I don't think I probably need to ink and paint it in this video. And there are still a few adjustments to be made. As I'm just toggling through here, I can see that the basic positioning of this knee is getting changed. So let's just go through and fix some scale issues here and there, and then we'll call it good for this video. I think this needs to come down a little bit. So I'm trying to move fast so that I can really process quickly. You know, I'm looking at it fresh all the time as I'm zapping through it so that I can process things that seem to be a little out of whack, that if I was moving more slowly maybe I wouldn't notice. Yeah, right there his leg seems to lengthen a bit. Okay, this is actually okay, but the truth of the matter is his knee is too low. But the overall drawing is actually okay. Okay, save our work. B. Okay, here we got a little bit of a shrinkage. Not shrinkage in the Seinfeldian sense, which you're only going to understand what that means if you've seen the episode of Seinfeld that's about shrinkage. Okay, so I'm going to give some volume to his toe area. And a little indicator that it needs to come out a little bit further. So these lines are kind of important, actually. It's these squared off lines that tell us, A, where's the end of that bit of anatomy and how thick of it is it. So you kind of want to avoid delineating this way. Now, if you're whipping through really fast like I've been doing and you're trying to get the basic positioning of it, okay, fine. But at some point you want to make sure that you square this off and figure out how far out here does it come and how big is it, because let's face it, a foot has some thickness to it, right? This actually doesn't look quite right to me. So I'm going to say the end needs to come there, and that's a little closer, I believe. You know? Okay, I think, yeah, same here. Right? Here, same thing. So I think we're basically at the point where we could probably go to ink and things will go fine. Here, thickness, little bit of thickness there, thickness, ba-da-da-da, same thing. See, because that tells you I've got the top edge of the foot's in the wrong place, you see. It's nice to know these things. Well, plus it helps your drawing overall because you realize that this actually consists of straight lines, very straight lines, and a limited number of them. 1, 2, essentially 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whatever. Okay. So now I feel like we've got a decent deal going on here, and actually let's put him in front of the background. We'll put the background, make the opacity kind of low, but let's just see what happens. Well, that certainly looks a lot better than what I had before. Now, in all reality, what we were going to actually do is run our walk cycle twice, or run cycle I should say. Run it twice. And then let's take this keyframe for the movement of the background. Just move them a little closer. Yeah, now that feels pretty darn good, doesn't it? And that's what Akari is going to hear, is this guy pounding down the hallway. So, okay, I think with that we'll stop. It's been a really challenging but really, really good session. And then I'll come back later and ink it up, baby. So, see you for now.